So I just finished watching The Fall of the House of Usher, and if you've seen my previous video talking about how I think this could be Netflix's big hit series, I sort of don't think that now, but I thought this show was fucking great, and I'm going to talk about those reasons in a little bit. But first, I just want to say, this video will definitely have spoilers for The Fall of the House of Usher, so if you have not seen the show, once you finish binging it, come back and watch this review because I'm really excited to talk about it. And I want to talk to you guys about it, but definitely watch it. It is fantastic. Now, it has a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's dropped a little bit from 95%, which I had in my last video when I was talking about it. And I've seen some people on Twitter sort of saying that it's not that good, and there was a few people that didn't like it, like a few big reviewers that didn't like it, and I was like, that's interesting. Maybe it's not good compared to his other stuff because I haven't seen his other stuff. But let me tell you, I am binging Midnight Mass. As soon as I finish this video, I'm actually going to watch the first episode. I'm very, very excited. Now, I said in my previous video that I'd seen the first episode of Hill House, and I didn't really like it, even though I hear that's his best show. And I was interested in Midnight Mass, but I really never just got around to it, but I'm definitely going to watch it now. And Bly Manor, I hear, wasn't that good. Midnight Club wasn't that good. And I think that was pretty much it for his shows. Midnight Club was not received well. Bly Manor, I heard mixed things. Hill House is supposed to be great, but I didn't love it. And I'm definitely going to check out Midnight Mass. But yeah, I was very excited for this show. I was hungry for something like this, right? Like a good binge that I could really sink my teeth into. And my God, did it deliver. This show was such a great binge. It was so fun. I watched it in about 2 days. Wow, and it's so great for the Halloween season as well. You know, it's October. It just sucks. I kind of wish I stretched it out a bit more, you know, across October. Even though that'd probably be like an episode every 3 days or 4 days if I wanted to actually make that work. But, yeah, wow. What a great show this was. The cast was on fire. Now, I noticed that Mike Flanagan uses pretty much the same cast for pretty much all his shows. I was looking at the cast list for Midnight Mass, and I was like, oh, okay. These are all pretty much the same people from House of Usher. But nevertheless, they do a fantastic job. I mean, this is like Succession meets... I don't want to say Stranger Things, but it's Succession meets some sort of horror show. I know Stranger Things is very much a, you know... It's probably not even relatable at all, but it's just the first show that came to my mind. So I guess Succession meets Midnight Mass or Haunting of Hill House or something like that, right? But wow, this was just fantastic. And I'm not even the biggest Succession fan. Like, I've only seen 2 seasons of Succession. But wow, man. I mean, you're supposed to hate these characters, but a lot of them I just ended up really enjoying. Like Camille, I go through the characters who I loved, right? Who you're not really supposed to love. I loved Camille, I loved Juno, I loved Tamerlane, I loved Tamerlane's husband, whose name I'm forgetting. I think it was, oh god, Built, right? It was Built, something like that. I loved Built, and that's, I guess, obviously the good characters I loved, like the lawyer, Augie, I loved Madeline, I loved Roderick. I'm sorry, but I just did. Now, the characters I didn't like, obviously I loved Lenore, by the way, I forgot to mention Lenore, Angel. Obviously, the characters I did not like, I did not like Prospero, I did not like, what's her name, Victorine. I hated Victorine. I also forgot to mention I loved Arthur Pym as well. And Verna, I even loved Verna. Like, you're not really supposed to. But there's only a few characters who I truly hated in this show, and that was Prospero and Victorine. Victorine was just such a fucking... Oh, I hated her. But, God, this show just had, you know, also Freddy. I forgot to mention Freddy. Fuck Freddy. He's probably the worst. I probably hate him the most. But yeah, the show did such a good job with these characters. Oh, also Leo. I didn't like Leo. But, yeah, the show did such a good job with these characters, making them likable but also assholes. It had such good monologues and such good dialogue. I mean, there was so many monologues I loved. There was one in episode 3, I think it was, where Roderick was talking to Augie in the house. And it was talking about, like, it was the lemons conversation where it was like, life gives you lemons, you know, you get Billie Eilish to hashtag it, you get Timothy Chalamet to wear lemon shoes at Cannes. I just thought that whole speech was so great and such a good thing about, or such a interesting monologue about business, I guess, in the modern day. You know, getting things to trend. I really, really, very much liked it. I thought it was so good. The show has some great monologues. I loved the one in the last episode that Madeline gives to Roderick when they're in the basement just before he kills her, poisons her. Spoilers. But wow, man, they had some great monologues. One thing I will say is they sort of let go of the informant plotline a little bit. I mean, they sort of did throw it away by saying, oh, there is no informant, but I kind of wish that there was one. But anyway, regardless of that, I just thought, wow, what a what an experience this was, man. The gore was crazy. The horror elements of it were insane. Like, the jump scares with horror stuff doesn't usually get me, and it didn't get me that much in this show rather. A lot of the jump scares were a little bit predictable. I can't really think of a time where I actually jumped and was like, like actually shocked. But it's still enjoyable. It's like, oh, that was a good jump scare. Reactions like that. But that's just me. It's not really the fault of a show. It's just I am very much used to jump scares now, and you can sort of see when they're coming if you've seen enough of them. But yeah, the gore was terrific. That ending of episode 2 was crazy. Like, oh my god, I actually did not know that was happening. That was going to come, because I hadn't picked up on the obvious foreshadowing of which kid was going to die in which episode. I just thought that was like how Prospero ends up looking like Vecna a little bit from Stranger Things. I thought that was like a demon or something when Roderick first saw him in the house when he was talking to Augie. So I didn't quite know that was Prospero, but I caught on pretty quick once he started burning. I was like, oh my god, that was just terrifying. But yeah, I gotta tell you, when some of the kids I liked started dying, that's when I was getting really upset. Like, when Tamerlane died, I was like, oh no. When Lenore died, that was terrible. I mean, I know Tamerlane's, like, these are all terrible people, right? And Camille, like, obviously these are terrible people, but they just make them so damn likable. And, like, you just want to root for them. Like, I started to feel bad for Tamerlane when she was sort of going insane about Verna being everywhere and sort of replacing her. And Camille, I understand Camille just wanted to find the informant, but she was likable. She was very likable, and she had a very likable personality, even though she was terrible to those assistants who ended up falling in love. It was very funny. There's also just want to quickly mention this before I forget, there's a very, very funny scene where Roderick says something to Arthur Pym when they're looking at the photo of Verna in this little labs with the monkeys, which is like the security guard sitting there, and Roderick says to Arthur, he says, zoom in, enhance. And once he said that, and they hadn't made the joke yet, I was like, wait, really? If he really does this, I will be very disappointed. But no, they very much made a joke of it, and Arthur was like, that's not a thing. You can't. It's not getting any more enhanced. And Roger's like, they always do that in the movies. But I actually laughed out loud at that. I don't really laugh out loud much at movies and shows because it's just hard to elicit that response from me. Even though internally I'll be like, oh, that was funny, that was a good joke. It just, it takes a little bit for me to actually physically laugh. But that I have been laughing. I thought it was very good. Yeah, some of these kills were just so terrible. Leo's was kind of tame, to be honest. He just sort of jumped off a building, which, jumping off a building, in what world is that tame? But compared to these kills, it was crazy. I think the craziest one might have been Freddy's, just because of how intense and sort of terrifying it was. Like, imagine being in that position and, just waiting to get your stomach slowly sliced open. Like, that is very much an intense death. I mean, he fucking deserves it for what he did to Maury. That was her name, right? Maury, his wife? But yeah, or was it Maury? Oh, Morel. Yeah, Morel. Maury. It was the same thing. God, he was fucking I hated him so much for what he did to her. So what if she cheated? She just wanted to go to a party, live a little. Jesus Christ, Freddy. I mean, these people are so entitled. He thinks his wife he's entitled to his wife's, life, body. It's just money, man. It's what money will do to you. One thing I will say is a little bit strange how Roderick and Madeline forgot that they made a deal with the devil. Like, they're just, we were drunk. We don't really remember. But yeah, I guess they sort of did remember. Well, Madeline remembered. Roderick was in denial. But yeah, I loved, by the way, Willa Fitzgerald as young Madeline. She was so fantastic. I only know her from I think she was in Reacher like last year, the Jack Reacher show on Amazon. She was so good and so conniving as young Madeline. She was amazing. Also, Zach Gilford as young Roderick. The whole past stuff with how they sort of came into ownership of Fortunato. That's what it's called, yeah. Of how they came into ownership of Fortunato was really great. The stuff with Augie. I loved all that, right? I really did. And seeing how they sort of rose to become terrible people, you know, because they didn't start off as terrible people. I mean, Madeline always was a little bit conniving and cunning, but, you know, Roderick he didn't seem like the type, right? And even Werner says he was meant to be a poet, for God's sakes. I mean, yeah, but all that stuff in the past was great. But once they sort of buried Rufus in the wall with the, you know, Jester mask on, I was like, okay, you know, these are not good people. But anyway, they were likable at least. Madeline was so likable. She was definitely the best part about the past stuff, even though I really enjoyed the past stuff still. But yeah, Werner though, I think she probably stole the show for me. I think Werner was definitely my favorite character on the show. Of like, you know, who's not the kids, because if it was the kids, it'd be like Camille or something, because she was just so enjoyable those first few episodes. But yeah, Werner, she just was amazing. Carla Gugino did such a great job. She's so, you know, what's the word? I don't want to say terrifying, but like, just they were eerie, I guess is the word. That picture, that one moment really freaked me out, which was when they had she was holding the cat, and it was on Leo's phone. They found Leo's phone. He took the picture of her holding the cat, and her eyes glow, like sort of bluey, and it's just so eerie and so terrifying. You know, I sort of bought into the theory earlier into the season where they were talking about, oh, is this another Usher who's just psychopathic and wants revenge? I sort of bought into that, even though I sort of knew she had like a supernatural element to her. I kind of wish we got to know more about that, like what actually is she. I think they sort of alluded to her being like a minion of the devil, of Satan or something. They sort of alluded to that, but I sort of wish we got more into depth with that. But I guess that's not what the show's about. The show was very clearly about money and power and family and, you know, all those things, right? What money does to you. Yeah, one thing I will say is also I kind of wish that Roderick had more of a reaction to his children dying. I mean, at that point, when it was just Freddy left, he didn't seem that distraught that 5 of his children had just, I guess, died in the last 2 weeks. I mean, I guess, did he ever really care about them? Since a lot of them only came into his life a little bit later. Like, I think Victorine was like 16 or 20 or something. One of the kids was pretty old when they came into his life. But, yeah. Overall, I thought the show was fantastic. I thought the characters were terrific. I thought the foreshadowing was great. The gore was fantastic. The scares were great. The characters were so likable, but also so unlikable. The show was great overall. Also, some really great representation in there with, you know, what was it? Leo and Augie, and who else? There was, you know, a lot of great representation sprinkled in there. That isn't like, you know, that isn't very clearly forced, like checking boxes. It's very natural and organic, which is really great. So yeah, the show I thought was fantastic, and Victorine I forgot to mention, but yeah, the show was fantastic. It's so great. Go watch it. Do yourself a favor. It's October. It's scary. It's gonna give you those scares. It's Mike Flanagan. I mean, I can't say it's his best because I haven't seen his other stuff, but it's a great show. So go check it out. Everything in it is off the charts. I had a great time with it. So yeah, that's it for this review. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Did you enjoy the show? Have you seen it? Are you going to watch it? Let me know. I'm very interested to know what you guys think. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. It would really help me out. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.